This is a movie all about how my mind got blown as I learned about sound. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you all about how a sound can simply travel through air. Transmitted through vibrations and waves, and needs a medium for all of its mechanical ways, so that energy can flow from one place to another, and the observer can hear all of the sounds that you utter. And if the oscillations move parallel like they should to the direction of propagation, then it's all good. A longitudinal wave, as it's been declared, with rarefaction and compression space between particles of air. Vibrations per second is known as frequency here, determines the pitch of the sound that'll reach your ear. If amplitude is increased, then you must prepare for this controls loudness in your ears, it will blare. Now, as we wrap up the basics, it was all worth the wait. Now I'll show you a concept that I find pretty great. So just sit back and relax, cause it's finally here. The Doppler effect and how we perceive with our ear.
Now that we've learned a little bit about how a sound is made, how it travels, and how it is perceived, it is time to turn our attention to the infamous phenomenon known as the Doppler effect. We invite Dr. Sheldon Cooper to share his knowledge and help us begin to see why we should all learn about this concept.
I don't care if anybody gets it, I'm going as the Doppler effect. If I have to, I can demonstrate.
Hey, what's Sheldon supposed to be?
Oh, he's the Doppler effect.
Yes. It's the apparent change in the frequency of a wave caused by relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer. It's the apparent change in the frequency of a wave caused by relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer.
Oh, sure, I see it now, the Doppler effect.
See? People get it.
I still don't get it.
I'm the Doppler effect.
Have you ever noticed that sounds change pitch when they're traveling past you? Can you recall a time when you were sitting at the stoplight on your way to school, minding your own business, when all of a sudden you heard an ambulance? If so, you might remember hearing the sirens wail a high pitch from half a mile down the street. You could see the vehicle approaching, and the pitch grew higher as it sped by. Once it passed, you noticed the siren sounded different. Somehow, it had a lower pitch than it did before. Why did the pitch of the siren change, you ask? The answer is the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect explains how we perceive changes in sound when the source of the sound is moving. Let's look back at our ambulance example. The siren generates a sound with a specific frequency, let's say 500 Hertz. This sound never changes. Its frequency remains the same regardless of whether or not it's moving. This is known as the actual frequency of the sound. However, as the ambulance races toward you, its movement through space causes the air particles to become bunched together. This is known as compression. As a result, when the sound wave hits you, you perceive a frequency that is noticeably higher than the actual frequency, let's say 550 Hertz. This is known as the apparent frequency. Then, as the ambulance passes, the sound waves continue coming toward you, but they are more spread out. This is known as rarefaction. When the sound wave reaches your ear, you hear a lower frequency than the actual siren, as the ambulance is moving away from you. Say you hear an apparent frequency of 450 Hertz. You perceive the ambulance to drop the pitch by 100 Hertz. To you, it seemed that the siren's pitch abruptly changed, but really, the siren's actual frequency has remained the same the entire time, right in the middle at 500 Hertz. In these two animations, you can see how the Doppler effect works with instruments and microphones. Next, you're going to see how it works with a car horn. As you just saw, when the car moved toward the observer, the frequency and the pitch of the horn got higher. When the car passed the observer, the frequency and the pitch got lower. This shows the Doppler effect.
It's the apparent change in the frequency of a wave caused by relative motion between the source of the wave and the observer.